7. Walls Circus or Walls number 3? Which is the better version?
Oh, I like Wall Circus. It's a little bit, it's got those Lindsey Buckingham high, odd vocals in there, and it has all those, the kind of the strange sounds, and it's a little out there, but it's very fun and a great song. So the other Walls is it number 3?
Yeah.
Or number 3 is it's good. It's kind of more of your classic Heartbreakers sound.
Yeah.
But the experimental stuff on Walls, I enjoy when I hear that.
I don't remember what it was called. There's a stripped down, very acoustic version. Maybe it was on the live anthology, and it was just Walls Live. I'm not sure what it's called.
Okay.
But out of those two, I think I'll go. So above all, I like the acoustic slowed down version. I think that is that's how that song should be played. But
Agreed.
Unless I'm misremembering, of Circus and 3, I think I'll go Circus, just because I love how he's singing at the end.
Okay.
Like when they're kind of echoing that, heart, heart, like when they do stuff
Yeah.
like that, and that I think when you're playing it at that speed, because the acoustic version is very slowed down.
Yeah.
Both of them are a relatively similar speed, I think, if I'm remembering it correctly.
I think so. Yeah, I think you're right.
Like I think I gravitate more towards that
Okay.
than like the
Really?
So
Okay.
I'll go with Circus, but above Circus is the acoustic version that's
acoustic
like
version,
slow
okay.
and drawn out, and I love it.
Circus.
Really? Okay. This is getting more traction than I thought it might. Okay. Any reason? Or just that's the one that kind of grabs you?
That's just the one I like better.
It depends on the mood, because if I'm a little more, I want to hear Circus. You know, if I just want to be more purist, I want to hear regular Walls. So I mean, I like them both, and that question went around, I think around 2017 or 18, and I remember I chose regular Walls because I was like, I like that. I love live versions, and that's another thing I collect. I love live recordings of bands. I even bought a cassette from a guy in England whose sister recorded a show with who knows what, probably brought the little tape recorder to the concert in 87. But I'm just like, I don't care. I want to hear how they sounded. That's all I care about. And the recording was great. I was like, thank you. Yeah.
Circus.
Really? It's funny. I wrote that question and I thought that almost everyone would say number 3 because that's my favorite version because it's the very acoustic stripped down, and almost everyone said Circus. Almost everyone. So what do you
It's got Lindsey Buckingham doing the backing vocals.
Fair enough, yeah.
It rocks and swings. It's a really cool pop record. I don't think it holds up. Like, I was obsessed with it when that record came out, and I don't think it holds up as well. And we all have a little bit of allegiance to the stripped down version because now that he's gone, I've played that, live many, many, many times. And there's like nary a dry eye.
Yes.
Because we hear it differently now.
Yeah.
So it's a hard choice, but Circus is just great. It's like the last of those great pop rock records. Like those AM friendly records. Yeah. Nobody makes songs like, it's a rock and roll band playing a pop tune. you know, you don't get that anymore. You've got like sort of Katy Perry and Kanye and this other kind of thing going. You know, even the bands who are considered sort of poppy, you know, Killers or Panic at the Disco or Foo Fighters or whatever, they're not making, like Circus could have been on the charts in 65.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, totally agree. I totally agree. And I mean, I remember I was fairly late to that song for some reason. I think one of the things was I didn't listen to She's the One because it had the word soundtrack in it. So for some reason I thought that, oh, well, that's probably just like three
You
or
and
four.
everybody else, yeah.
Yeah, I probably thought it's about 2 or 3 Tom Petty songs and then a bunch of instrumental Michael Kamen stuff, right? And then came back to it and heard that song and that opening line, some days are diamonds, some days are rocks. Well, straight away I'm like, well, you've got me there.
You know what? One thing we didn't say, which I really want to say, is Tom is the master of the first line.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, I'll go with you
She's
on
an
this,
American girl raised on promises. Holy shit. You don't need to do anything else after that.
Yeah. I get to see those fault lines laid out like landmines. Like, again, no one writes that. No one else writes that. I mean, Dylan had that same turn of phrase where he just brings something to you that was completely out of left field.
He was never focused on the first line the way Tom was focused on the first line.
Yeah.
Dylan will write 20 verses and narrow it down to 4 or 5, and it's just the arc of the story that he wants to tell. But Tom was like, he's going to get you.
I have no skin in this game. I think it's a cool song and sort of I'm just going to say Circus. I like it because it's busier. I don't have a lot of concrete, super specific examples or rationale to give for why that is. But when Circus comes up, I bop a little harder than when number 3 comes up. That's all I got to say.
Perfect. The way I wrote this question originally was which is the better version, but that's not right. It's which is your preferred version, which you usually go for.
Right, because they're both great. And but I always go Walls number 3. I like kind of the stripped down version, you know, a little slower tempo. Yeah. Walls Circus to me always kind of sound a little overproduced. That's kind of the wrong word, but there's a lot of elements in there, right? Yeah. And I always liked it better just kind of pared back. And my favorite version, like you said in that PBS show, just pared down Tom with an acoustic. Yeah. Sing. It's such a beautiful song. It's so incredibly well written. Lyrically, it's perfect. Absolute note perfect. So, I go with Walls number 3, but I do love Walls Circus as well.
And again, I always talk about when I'm talking to other people, well, why do you love Tom Petty so much? What are the things you love about him? And one of the things I love about him is he was a master of economy. That's such a simple song. There's not much going on in that version. Certainly, there's not a lot going on in that song. It's very simple chord progression, very straight drum beat. He's not modulating his voice a ton, but the impact of the words and the way it's got so much space in it to breathe is why it's impactful, right? And why it sort of lands with you. And of course, when you've got that opening line, some days are diamonds, some days are rocks. I mean, straight away, you almost don't need anything else. You could sing that and then just 4 minutes of music, and you probably get away with it. It's so strong, right?
And even just I can't hold out forever, even walls fall down. Like such an impactful lyric that everybody, you know, that's kind of the human experience. Everybody's felt that. And that's where you get that feeling that, you know, Tom Petty's singing for me. He's singing about me. That's what he did.
Circus.
Yeah. Talk about it in the book, right? It's on one of your mix CDs, I think. Yeah.
Yeah. And I don't know. I don't have a good reason. Yeah. I just like that one. I just like how the wheels fall off at the end.
Yeah.
You know, it's so bizarre, and the Lindsey Buckingham vocals, and it's just I'm glad it's very important that it's just one Walls or another Walls, because I do think that might be one of his best songs.
It's like picking between a Lamborghini and a Lotus. You know, it's like, I don't know, God. Circus.
Circus, yeah. It's funny.
It's a little deeper. I think the regular one was so that they could play it in concert. That's the one that they would play in concert. The other, the Circus is much denser. It's more that Jeff Lynne style and not as easily played live. I mean, maybe, you know, I can't say nothing can. I used to think that you could never play live Day in a Life by the Beatles. You could never play that live. And then I saw the Fab Four do it live and I was like blown away. So I was like, okay, crazy. I can't say that you can never play any of these songs live because they can be duplicated now. You know,
and even like I would say, Don't Come Around Here No More. When the first time you hear that song, and then you start getting, when I got into Tom Petty, I thought, well, obviously they didn't do that one live because it's the drum machine. It's such a weird off kilter rhythm that probably they wouldn't do that one live. And lo and behold, when you watch that, the huge production, and he's opening the chest with that, and Mike does that huge, I don't know, 2-3 minute sort of intro on that, you know, and it's like, oh, that's how you do that song live. Okay, yeah, you can do it live if you're Tom Petty. So
yeah.
I go Wall Circus.
Okay.
Because at the end, like the outro of that song, after he stops singing, they get into some weird shit at the end of that song. There's some like cyber shit happening a little bit. It's like it's not really cyber, but they like start to approach that kind of weird world.
Yeah.
And so for that reason, I prefer Circus. I think the tempo on the other version is better. I wish the Circus version was done at the tempo of the other version.
Just that little bit. Yeah.
And the other version I'd like the harmonica solo. It's like trashy. It's recorded in this like really trashy, distorted way. And when that came out, I was like, oh, that's cool. But overall, I like the Circus version more just because on the outro, you start to hear these like weird, they like start to do things they haven't ever done yet. Or maybe you're just hearing it for the first time because there's no vocal. And I like those little like last minute surprises.
I have to say, I listened to them both again today, and I really like Wall's Circus the best.
Okay,
and for various reasons. I like the 12-string thing in the center because that's single note picked on 12-string, and I like the crazy circus sounds at the end and stuff. And it's got a little bouncy energy. Now the other one's more straight ahead. They're both in the same keys. It's a little bit more straight ahead. And then he does the cross harp on the B flat harp during that bit, you know. And I'm not sure that works the best, but it's, you know, it is what it is. But I decided that I probably like Circus the best. But I can combine them now because I can do the harp part for the guitar, and then when I get to the end, I can do that. If I get a double rack that I can hold two harps, that's what I need, so I can do the tonic and the cross harp. So that's two harps. God. And then, well, you know, John Lennon used two different harps on "Love Me Do," right?
I didn't know that.
Yeah, he's got the main riff, and when he does the solo, he had to pull out a chromatic, I think.
Ah, well, that makes sense, I guess. Now you said that.
You read the story. Yeah, you can't do the solo on "Love Me Do" with the C harp or the G or C harp that he uses on that.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So, well, Django, you've already said that you like the Yellow Album, as we sort of tend to call it. She's the one. So, Wall's Circus or Wall's Number 3, which is your favorite version of that song?
I love Lindsey Buckingham and the sound of his voice. So I mean, I like the Circus because of that. I like what Lindsey's doing in there. Not everybody does. They feel like maybe is overdone. And that's a great question. It's great that you asked that question because it's very much two different styles of something, and a very different kind of production. But I guess I'm a fan of Lindsey's voice and the context of that song.
Number 3 for me.
Number 3, yeah.
I'm the opposite. I think that Lindsey's stuff gets in the way of the song.
Hard.
Sorry.
So
yeah, I'm not a fan of the sorry, Lindsey, of solo Lindsey stuff.
Yeah.
You know. So that's like, oh, here it is. But number 3 is tried to the song. And I love his demo version of it too.
Yeah.
I think it's on Wallflowers, right? Yeah. The double album.
Well, and my favorite version of that song is the one he does. There's the PBS soundstage special where he's got the black polo neck, and again that because it's so stripped back, but then you get Scott Thurston's harmonies are just absolutely out of this world. And the other thing I always miss on Circus is that harmonica. I love the harmonica solo in it. That's what makes the song good for me too. So cool.
Well, this song just means a lot. I think of Tom's lyrics as having sort of like proverbs laced through them. Like, you know, they're really they're so simple, but this song is just like, it's sort of a litany of like brilliant couplets.
Yeah.
And you know, they're haunting. And this song, when I first discovered it, it was deep into my Tom Petty listening that I discovered it, because once again, the record cover that has Jennifer Aniston is not one of the first you reach for, but I'm so glad I did, because I thought I maybe knew every great Tom Petty song. And then Wall's Circus comes on and I'm like, not only do I not know every Tom Petty song, but I don't even know all of the best ones, you know.
Yeah.
And I was driving and Circus came on, and I literally added like 45 minutes, went out of my way to wherever I was going just to be able to listen to that song on repeat. It's just it's a perfect song. And I hate the word perfect, but it's a perfect song. That said, I'm more of a number 3 person.
Yes.
I think it's better. It's and I only say that about Circus because if you listen to the album in order, that's what you hear first.
Yeah.
And I think its production is really cool. I love the backing vocals. I think there's much to be said for it, but it's somehow self-serious in a way that number 3 isn't. Number 3 is like so off the cuff. It's so, I've used this word, but it's so relevant for him. It's so understated.
Yeah.
It's the way they did it during the 40th anniversary tour. And the tempo just suits it so well. I think that Circus is really cool, but after listening to the really breezy approach of number 3, the piano in Circus actually starts to sound kind of claustrophobic in a way. Like it's
Okay.
a little plodding. I mean, it's great, but yeah, I don't know. Number 3, and the lyrics are not the same either, which is important.
There's a couple of lines, yeah.
There's a line, I don't want to paraphrase because I don't want to butcher it, but it's fast. I love when you hear something like that in someone's discography and wonder, maybe it is an accident, or maybe it means everything.
Well, yeah, I mean, I'll go with Circus, yeah, for sure, because the other one sounds more like just what Petty would do,
Yeah.
Whereas Circus is a very interesting sonic thing that's a little bit different from the norm, which is what that record, is to me. And I would say the exact same thing about Angel Dream, that the first version, the one with the weird percussion and stuff like that,
right?
It's not just the straight delivery. Is my preferred version of that one too. Yeah, I just think they're cooler arrangements.
It took me a while to get into Circus, just because the first time I heard 3, because like you said, that's the way he wrote it for sure, right? Because he's written that on his Martin. He's sitting there and he's strumming an acoustic guitar, so it's got that sort of singer-songwriter feel.
Yeah,
but Circus has just got so much swing to it. Like, it swings so hard, that version of it, and it's got that lazy tempo to it because it's a little bit slower, and it's got that grungy thing in there, and you get it's such a cool
piano and
just fantastic. Yeah. And the video's great too. It's a killer video. So
yeah.
And Lindsey's on there as well. So you got to love a little bit of Lindsey Buckingham. So
absolutely.
I'm with you and Matt on 3. I love those vocals, and it just got more to it, and I enjoy it a lot more. I don't think that's a gray area for me. I'm definitely a 3 guy as well.
And I don't think they ever played the Circus arrangement live, did they? I'm pretty sure when they played it live, it was always sort of either, really stripped back acoustic, or it was the very simple, 3 version. I don't think they ever did that swung, slowed down.
Not that I know of, and I don't think it's on the Fillmore album, so I don't think they did that. No, not very often as well. And again, that's a weird time because it was a movie soundtrack, and there's a Lucinda Williams tune on that one as well, Change the Locks, which is a great song as well, and perfect for the movie. So it was an interesting time period as well. I think that one was like a slow burn on Tom Petty fans.
And I was thinking, like, because I did I'd answered these questions on my 100th episode, I was thinking, oh man, I should have totally said Wall Circus covered by Soundgarden. That would have been wicked cool.
That would have been good. That would have been very good.
The one with Lindsey Buckingham on, that's 3, right?
That's Circus.
That's Circus. Okay, I'm going with that one. That's phenomenal. That is just like, yeah, you're kidding me. I played that once to a girl, as because I was an idiot and I was trying to impress her. And we buy a log fire, and I think she was a bit sad anyway, and she started crying. What is that? It's beautiful. They're very.
And a great opening line again. That's something I talk about lots with people. Is knack for writing just the best opening line. It's incredible. Some days are diamonds, some days are rocks. And I know that he got that from Johnny Cash, but still had the prescience to put that in a lyric and use it as the opening lyric. Like I said, you got a heart so big it could crush this town. Who writes that? It's incredible.
Totally. And it's beautiful because he's talking about someone that's really vulnerable and troubled, and you do have a really big heart. So just don't let this piece of shit world destroy you, because you're bigger than this town. Chimes back into the, lost in a one-story town, where everything turns back around. I love that. Same shit goes down, blah, blah, blah. You know the lyrics. But I mean, like, I love that. And I think that's why a lot of there's a specific set of women that love Tom Petty because he taps into that vulnerability that a lot of women feel that other artists don't really have the courage to go to.
Circus, I think. I just think there's just something immediate about it, for lack of a better word.
Yeah.
An immediacy.
There's also a swing to it that 3 doesn't have, which, I mean, when I wrote this question, I thought everyone was going to say 3 because that always was. I think still probably is my favorite version, but most people say Circus, and a lot of people say it's because of Lindsey Buckingham and the arrangement's a bit bigger, but it's got that. It does have that because it's a slow pace, slow tempo. It's got a bit more of a swing to it. It feels different. There's that one lyric change in it that makes it a little bit different. But Chris, are you a 3 or a Circus fan?
I'm maybe it shows my lack of sophistication, but I'm a number 3.
There we go.
Yeah, I mean, I love both versions, and I think some of the way the arrangements in Circus version are amazing. But we sing the number 3 version, or we play that, and I think that song in general demonstrates one of the things that I've noticed about Tom Petty's writing is his lyrics. They don't go where you expect them to go.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, they go someplace different, even though the obvious rhyme is there. Some doors are open, some doors are locked. Some roads are. It just doesn't
Absolutely.
go where you expect it to go. It doesn't go to the obvious place.
Yeah.
And that's what I love about that song the most. But as far as the versions are concerned, I have to go with number 3.
I'd have to go with Wall's Circus. I love them both. I think that the more kind of direct version has got a sweetness to it that really draws me. But I like that Wall's Circus it almost feels, and I went back, obviously, when you posed this question, went back and listened and kind of did a quick little realization that it almost feels like a mid-period Beatles song. There's these psychedelic elements to it with the keyboards coming in and out, and at one point I think the keyboards even kind of fall off, almost like accidents being played, almost like you're listening to Blue Jay Way from Magical Mystery Tour by the Beatles. And so there's this keyboard swells, the sort of this mildly psychedelic elements to it, and then of course the harmonies. I wouldn't call myself I'm a big Lindsey Buckingham fan, but Lindsey Buckingham adds a lot to that, and just the clattering guitars, the shimmering guitars in there, some stabs of strings going in and out. It's a production masterpiece. I love that song. I think it's great. So I'm going to go Wall's Circus. And I will say, speaking of Lindsey, also gives me the opportunity to say that I saw him play a solo show in Houston in 2009, maybe.
Okay.
And it was at this little place that doesn't exist anymore. It's called Fitzgerald's, but it's a parking lot now, a little paved paradise situation. But I saw some of the best concerts there, and I saw Lindsey Buckingham, and I went by myself, and I got there early enough that I was able to get right up next to the stage. This place held maybe 600 people, 700 people. And
wow.
And I got to be 15 feet from Lindsey Buckingham and just watch him work. And I was there by myself, which sometimes you'll recognize, right? It's good to go with friends, but sometimes it's also really cool to just be there in the moment by yourself,
and just not have to worry about saying, "Hey, that was really cool." I can just watch to like a stalker like level of focus. Just watch what and tell you, man. Like I saw him live with Fleetwood Mac a few years ago now. Another guy who's frighteningly good on guitar. I didn't realize how good a guitarist that guy is,
So I think he probably played, I agree. And I think he probably played Big Love. Do you know that song?
Yeah.
Big Love by Fleetwood Mac.
Oh, yeah.
So it's a tour de force on the guitar. And I think I've seen live versions of it, even when he was with Fleetwood Mac, where he basically plays it almost solo. And he just has this acoustic guitar and he's finger picking. He's got, I think he must have at least 16 fingers on his right hand as he's finger picking the song. And he sings this song, and in the solo show, he literally just had a backing track. And so there wasn't a whole lot of improvisation because you're not able to improvise if you know that the song is going to be exactly 3 minutes and 17 seconds long or whatever as he clicks the backing track. But it made it that much more kind of just like him in the moment being able to do what he was doing by himself, which again allows you to focus just on him. But Big Love, he's just there like, and he just going crazy. And then he sings it. And at the end, he just gets into this like incredible shrieks.
and it goes on where in the song, ho ho ha ho ha, and he's doing that, but he's building and he's building, he's getting louder, and the crowd is just sitting there like, what kind of like Svengali trance does he have us in? Everybody is just there, and then he ends and he hits the chord and he just sort of falls limp, and the crowd just goes up like I don't know, like we just got word that we won the war, just. And it was the most incredible moment, one of the most incredible live experiences of my life. And there again, I was lucky enough to be in the right place at the right time, 20 feet from him while this was happening. And so for me, Wall's Circus, for all sorts of reasons, but one reason being that Lindsey Buckingham is also a part of that song, and he's a pretty cool dude.
That's a pretty damn good reason, man.
I should have listened to all of them. I mean, the one, Wall's Circus is the one that we hear all the time, right? Is the one that's I mean, I love it. I don't know. I know I have the other one on vinyl, and I should have listened to it again, but I like the one that was more popular. I like it just fine. And it's kind of Beatlesque, right? And
very. It's got that psychedelic kind of things to it.
Yeah.
Circus. I'm going to go with the more Beatles-ish, Sgt. Pepper-ish, I'll call it.
There we go.
I think he's thrown it all in there. And I love the She's the One soundtrack. I didn't mean to jump over it when I was talking before, but I do consider it as something separate a little bit, even though I think there's so many great songs, and obviously a lot of them came from Wildflowers, but I'm going to go with Circus. I like the production. Some might say overproduced. To me, I wouldn't want every Tom Petty song to sound like that. But that one I like. But it's nice that we have another version too. I mean, it's great. I'm kind of glad he released both. I'm always for more. I don't want Wildflowers to be a double album. I want it to be a triple album. I think I'm always wanting more. And if something is a little experimental or a little different, I'm okay with that. I don't feel like watered down to the best. I understand Wildflowers, what they did, but in general, I'd rather get more. So I'm glad we have both Walls, but I'm going with Circus.
Well, talking about great lines and then things that you can, some days are diamonds, some days are rocks. Which is your favorite version of Walls, Circus or number 3?
Circus.
Circus,
And I'm a harmony person, so I love those layered vocals. I work Lindsey Buckingham. Getting the name right. And it's funny because a lot of times I like a more stripped down version of a song if I had to choose. But I really like all those layers.
I think that can be overdone. You can sort of layer up just for the sake of it, and then you actually lose the song, right?
Right.
With Walls, they avoid that just because it's Rick Rubin and Tom Petty.
Yeah,
and
they never get to that level.
Yeah.
When
you've heard me say that, number 3 was, I thought, well, everyone's going to say number 3 because that's basically 3 is the way it was written, right? You can tell that that's Tom Petty sitting down with an acoustic guitar.
Sure.
That's how he wrote the song, but the more and more I listen to Circus, and as a huge Beatles fan, it's like, this is a Beatles song. Like, it's exactly what Sgt. Pepper would have done with this song,
Well, that's an interesting point. I wouldn't have put that together, but you're right. It does sound very Beatlesy now.
Especially with that tempo, when you just drop it down by 5-6 beats per minute, whatever it is, and it gets just that little bit more gritty. It is. I mean, and they're both fantastic. It's like picking gold or platinum, right? They're both great.
Absolutely.
3 is the one. Which is the one that was released to radio? 3. I think.
Circus was the one with the video, and that's one with Lindsey Buckingham and the big full arrangement with the
Circus is the one I like.
Yeah, the big swan. Lindsey Buckingham.
Yeah, I mean, I can't say no to the other version, but Circus is the one. Yeah,
yeah. Did you ever watch did you see the PBS special ever that they did?
I think I did.
It's the one where he's wearing that black polo neck shirt. That's my favorite version of Walls because he comes out and there's all the TV screens. And he comes out and says, everywhere I look is me. And then they start playing, and you've got Jesus. Oh my Lord, Duckhead. His name's Scott Thurston. Good grief. Why can I not remember Scott Thurston's name? He does, and it's when he does the backing vocals, he does the harmony vocals and plays the harmonica.
Right.
In that version, it's just cooking. It's so good.
Oh, cool. I'll look for that.
Yeah, I'll send it to you.
Yeah. Yeah, it's interesting how the different versions of Walls, and I always got confused which one is which. Yeah.
I'll accept that answer. Number 7. Walls Circus or Walls number 3, which is the better version?
Yeah, and I've modified this question in recent times and to say which is your favorite version, right? Because better, it's a bad wording, so that's on me. Number 3 still, because that's the version I heard first. I think that's the closest to how it was written. It's kind of that stripped down, super cool version. But I've really come around to Circus. I've been very surprised by most people say Circus.